Yes, my friends, welcome back. 4 massive stories to break down today. We discuss the latest developments between us and Inter Milan over players like Lukaku, Koulibaly and Onana too. To move on, we have even more updates around Kai Havertz making a move to Arsenal, as today he gives Arsenal the green light. And to end with things, we discuss the big reports around Moises Caicedo, plus a lot more. So my friends, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Show your love, hit that like button. Let's get 3k likes or more. And without wasting any more time, now let's start things off and let's discuss these latest developments between us and Inter Milan. Now, excuse my language here, but I feel like Inter Milan are starting to piss me off so much right now. Like, do you ever see it like this? We've known for a while, based on multiple reports coming out from Italy and from this country as well too, what the play from Inter Milan was set to become, right? Of course, we know that they want to sign Lukaku on reduced terms again on another loan spell. And of course, we've heard previously too that they're interested in signing Koulibaly on loan as well. So the fact that when both parties finally have discussions over moves is basically having the same conversation about stuff that we already know. It's a bit frustrating, but typical Serie A fashion, they're only interested in getting cut price offers. Now in the case of Lukaku, he's more than happy to even accept reduced wages again to remain at Inter Milan for another season. Of course, for Lukaku, it's not only about Inter Milan for his professional career, but also his family as well, who are really enjoying life in Italy. And Inter Milan are showing interest in Koulibaly. Now, after Skriniar left them on a free deal to sign for Paris Saint-Germain, Inter Milan are looking for experienced reinforcement at the back, and Koulibaly has been told he has surplus requirements. Pochettino has told him that he isn't part of his plans, and even though Koulibaly ideally prefers to remain here, fight for his place and try and prove the doubters wrong. As I keep stressing, I give this guy credit because how he ended last season was completely different to how he started the season. But right now, the priority for Pochettino is to focus on the youth we have in defence. That includes Levi Cole, who is set to return back to the club, and he's going to earn a very prominent role. Of course, Fofana, Badiashile, Thiago Silva most realistically will remain here because we do need some experience to balance out this very young team. And based on the latest reports coming out from Italy, it seems like Koulibaly has accepted the fate of his career with us because he is happy to accept reduced wages to find a move away from us, which is a very good thing because this guy's earning close to 300k a week. Now, we have rejected Inter Milan's advances to try and sign both these guys on new loan deals. We're not going to fall for that. I think realistically, if they were to sign Lukaku on another loan spell, I think after that loan spell they would move him on and they'd have enough money in the bank to reinvest in a permanent signing. And I think it would be the same thing for Koulibaly. Like, we can't afford to keep these high earning wage players at this club, knowing that some don't want to be here and others aren't actually needed anymore. It's a priority that we receive some money for them. And I guess now that we've told Inter Milan that we are rejecting their advances for loan deals, the positive news is that talks aren't necessarily over yet. Now, there are going to be future meetings held between us and Inter Milan in the future, in the very soon future. And now my thing is, what offer Inter Milan going to come back with? Because if you can't afford to sign both these guys on permanent deals, obviously you understand that we're interested in Andre Onana and of course Lautaro Martinez. Now with Kai Havertz, who I'll discuss very soon, potentially moving to Arsenal, that frees up a spot for us to sign a new striker for next season. And obviously we have big interest in Andre Onana. Now that's going to be quite difficult because Man United are also desperately interested in signing him too. They need a world-class sweeper keeper to replace David De Gea. Now, one thing they have is Champions League football, and that's something we can't offer at this point in time. So I feel like we're hedging our bets on finding an agreement now between Inter Milan that involves a player exchange. Because if we allow Lukaku to leave on another loan spell for, even less wages as well too, something has to give, right? And I feel like the only thing that would satisfy us is either accepting Onana as number one or finding a deal to get Lautaro Martinez. So that is the latest news happening between us and Inter Milan. How do you guys feel about this? Let us know below. And I guess right now, let's turn our attention to discussing the latest updates around Kai Havertz and Arsenal. It's kind of mad how quickly things have progressed ever since the transfer window was officially open yesterday, and Arsenal aren't here to play around. As we know, they're currently making moves to sign Declan Rice. Today they've had an £80 million bid rejected by West Ham Forum, but we got some confirmation from UK media that a secret club is also planning to make bids as well too. And we don't know who that club is right now. Now, of course, we still have some light interest in Declan Rice. And it is light interest. I feel like I've explained the situation where we tried to entice him to sign for us and we absolutely flopped. But another club could actually be Man City. Because as I've told you guys before, from what I've heard, Pep Guardiola is a massive fan of Declan Rice. And I'm mentioning this first because my fear now is, if Man City decided to move for Declan Rice, could that potentially mean that they don't sign Mateo Kovacic? Who knows? Obviously, Bernardo Silva could be going to Paris Saint-Germain. That's not confirmed right now though. Gundogan, that's touch and go. He may remain at City, or he could leave for pastures new. So with the future of both Silva and Gundogan up in the air a little bit, could Man City now be forced to make a move for Declan Rice right now and maybe just stall this Kovacic deal? Hopefully not. Kova has agreed personal terms already, but there's been no agreement over the final fee for them to actually buy him. So I guess we continue to watch the space. But regardless, the other player on the agenda for Arsenal is Kai Havertz. And today we've got the official confirmation that Havertz has greenlit the move to sign for Arsenal. And I don't know how to really feel about this. It's happening so quickly, it's happening so fast. Of course, we understood already that Kai, Arsenal, they've agreed personal terms. He'll earn in excess of 200k per week. And in terms of the fee we want, we have been quoting fees of around £75 million, but it seems like we're a bit flexible as long as we get something close to our valuation. And today, reports state that Arsenal are planning to make a £60 million bid plus add-ons on top. And if you guys remember, this was a similar offer that we proposed to Real Madrid before they turned that down because they felt like Kai was worth less money. Now, why is Kai leaving? We have to remember this. Obviously, Kai won't be signing an extension to his contract, which means that now that he has 2 years left, you earn the maximum amount of money from his sale right now. And to be fair with you, from a fan perspective, I don't like the fact that he's strengthening a direct rival. A rival that could potentially sign Declan Rice, could add a Kai Havertz to their team, improving defensively and offensively. But at the same time, from a footballing point of view, ever since he, rode those highs of securing us the Champions League with his, only goal against Man City in the final, you would think that that would have been the platform for Kai to really push on even more, yeah? And for me, this is where I feel like our club has to take some responsibility. I feel like Thomas Tuchel and his ideas did not help him. Kai is a very simple guy to use, I've always referenced his time at Leverkusen. Make sure you provide verticality in your team, which basically means if you have like pacey wingers that can run in behind, stretch your play, like what he had at Leverkusen with your Baileys and your Jabbies, you free those spaces for Kai to ghost in the box. Kai is a very good passer. We've never really utilised his passing skills, his through balls and behinds. And because of our really poor way of playing offensive football, we became a very horizontal team. Now, we can't forget how, 2 seasons ago, that season ended. Lots of sideways passes and only crosses in the box from wingbacks. The attacking guys were isolated. And you got to think, if you're kind of being misused in a really poor way for 3 years, how is that helping you progress as a football player, right? And for me, the final nail in the coffin was when we saw March ban in Sky, when he had that really great spell in March and he played on the right-hand side in like a 4-2-3-1. And that way he got to play a bit deeper. He got to get more involved in the game. We were seeing through balls and behinds. He was scoring goals. And after March, he never played on that right-hand side again. And I kind of feel like that's the story of Kai's career with us at this football club. We've never really understood how to use him, and we just kind of throw him in depending on demands we need against certain opposition. It's not good enough. Regardless, he likes the projects being offered to him by Arsenal. They play good attacking football. They have the wingers and your Martinellis, your Sakas, etc., that could allow him to play his best football too. I'm a little bit worried that he could be a success for them, and if Kai was to achieve his potential, he becomes a very scary player. So let's watch the space, but it seems like Kai is set to be signing for Arsenal quite soon until they find an agreement with us. So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions. How do you feel about this? Is Kai a snake? Let us know below. And of course, right now we end things with another banger of a story. And I gotta end things on a positive note after discussing Kai Havertz, but we're getting some interesting developments now around Moises Caicedo. Now, for the Kai story, I had to start things off by discussing the latest around Declan Rice because there's a bit of a merry-go-round going on right now. And we got some confirmation today that Arsenal have withdrawn themselves from the race to sign Declan Rice. Now, I think we all kind of expected them to do that eventually. There's no way in hell Arsenal have money for Rice, Kai, and Caicedo in the same window. Not when they have Jorginho and Partey too. Like, they don't need to have 3 DMs. It makes no sense. Now, I think we're all kind of thinking this, right? Maybe Arsenal are pulling out from the move to sign Caicedo because they're focusing all their attentions now on Declan Rice and the secret club that are also trying to sign him. From West Ham's perspective, you know, they wanted to get around £100 million for Rice. It's a bit mad knowing the fact that he has like 1 year left on his deal. But I think their plan all along was to force a bidding war. And if clubs are going to come in to start making offers right now, that's going to increase the price, right? So in that sense, Arsenal have to focus on priorities. That's Havertz, the attacking mid they wanted, and Declan Rice, the defensive mid they wanted. And this leaves us a lot of room now to go for Caicedo. Now, in terms of the final fee we could potentially pay for Caicedo, it's not going to be close to 100 million. It seems like Brighton want around 70 million plus 10 million on top in add-ons. It's still very expensive, it's still very pricey. But this is where things get really interesting today because we've known about their efforts to try and sign Levi Colwill. We all kind of knew, listen, it's not going to happen. The fact that we've said that he will stay here, yeah, it's not going to happen. But there is another player that Brighton are really interested in signing, and that is Conor Gallagher. Now, Conor's attracting a ton of attention from really good clubs, you know, your West Hams, your Newcastles, and now Brighton. Brighton feel like he would be the best replacement for McAllister. They feel like he suits De Zerbi's tactical ideas. And even though Conor gets clowned by some of his own fans for some reason, you know, he's still one of the best young attacking mids in the country. And the fact that he got like nearly double digits for goals for Crystal Palace says quite a lot, because how many mids are getting goals like that under 23? Conor's quite versatile. He can play as an attacking mid, he can play in midfield, he can drop deeper. And De Zerbi likes his midfield players to have that type of flexibility across different positions. So right now, it's starting to look like Conor Gallagher could be going the other way, which frees us room now to sign Caicedo. And yeah, it's not going to be like a player exchange plus money. Clubs don't like doing that for accounting reasons, but we'll probably pay the 80 million, and maybe Brighton might pay 30 to 35 million pounds. Of course, once you cross that off together, it means the net fee for Caicedo could be around 45 million pounds, which isn't too bad. And for me, yeah, I think that Caicedo most definitely was going to be the guy we prioritised, especially with Kante leaving now. How many guys can even claim to try and get close to trying to be Kante's successor? It has to be Caicedo. And on top of that too, yeah, I'm thinking about the future, my guys. We've signed one of the best young teenage players on this damn planet in Kendry Pires. When this guy comes to our club, wow, I'm honestly so excited. Like, we never signed players like this. And obviously, he's one of Ecuador's greatest hopes. And if he fulfills his potential, he could be an absolute legend there. And the fact that we could have 2 of Ecuador's best ever players, potentially in Pires and Caicedo, playing for us together at the same club, that's an opportunity that we can't turn down. And sometimes you've got to think about synergy in terms of, like, you know, teammates getting along together. And I think it makes a lot of sense to have both Pires and Caicedo in the same squad, right? We have been holding discussions with Caicedo now for the past few weeks. Since the January window, he's understood our interest to sign him. And if we didn't get Enzo Fernandez, we probably would have signed Caicedo last January. Our lack of Champions League football isn't enough to put the player off. Like, we can't forget all the pictures of Caicedo back home wearing like Chelsea kits when he was younger, claiming that Kante is like his idol as well too. This is like the opportunity now to fulfill like a lifetime's dream by signing for his boyhood club. It makes a lot of sense. I think this guy will be phenomenal alongside Enzo Fernandez. And as I'm saying, we're going to start getting ready now for like a new Latin culture at this football club. You know, you're looking at Santos, Pires, Enzo Fernandez. Like, imagine a midfield 3 of Santos on the left, Enzo on the right hand side, Caicedo as a DM, maybe Pires playing in front on the right hand side. You know, I'm seeing the vision right now. Things are very exciting. And for me, it's quite simply this. Now that Arsenal are trying to sign Kai Havertz, I would not be surprised that in those informal talks, we're telling them, listen, just admit publicly that you're out the race to sign Caicedo, because that gives us leverage now to try and strike a deal. And in that sense, if Arsenal are scratching our backs, we're scratching theirs by giving them Kai Havertz. It makes sense for all parties, right? So my friends, these are some of the biggest stories today. And I imagine there's going to be even bigger stories dropping this evening. So make sure you guys stay tuned, right? So my friends, on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. And catch you guys later for some more videos. Cool.